distinguished guests, welcome to another episode of Life on the Grid, hosted by Kobe Lambeth and Joe Samdiego. Today we have NASCAR pit crew member Breanna O'Leary and musical guest Ben Balivet from Alaska. Enjoy today's episode of Life on the Grid.
Merry Christmas and happy holidays from the Uptown Charlotte skyline from the WBTV webcam. Hello, everyone. We hope that you are staying safe, healthy, and enjoying the holiday season. Welcome to another edition of Life on the Grid. My name is Kobe Lambert from the podiumfinish.net, and with me, as always, Joe Samdiego. And it's December 26th, the day after Christmas. And for the first time in my entire life, oh my goodness, we didn't have a single family member come over or kids opening presents under the Christmas tree throughout the day. Yeah, definitely. Christmas 2020 had a different feel. And we know the holiday season usually goes one or two ways. It's either cheerful or sad. And this year, we fully understand that there's a lot more sadness going around. And at the time of this video, we've lost over 300,000 Americans, and the numbers are continuing to climb each and every day. And it's getting closer to 2 million deaths lost worldwide due to the coronavirus. And losing a loved one is tough, especially when the holidays are here. Among other things, people are unemployed, people are starving. I've seen the food bank lines, they're very long, especially watching the news all the time, very depressing. People are facing eviction, and people overall just unable to make ends meet and to go along with the empty seats at the dinner table in many homes all across the United States and the world. With that said, on behalf of everyone at Grit Network, we're thinking of everyone who is experiencing a tough time during the holiday season. Joe, what are you doing this holiday season to maintain a positive mindset? I know it can be really tough during the holiday season for some folks.
It can be really tough and difficult. I know earlier this week I talked to a close friend, just listening now, been having pretty much a depression year. Big thing is just knowing that, people trust me to the point where it's like, hey, Joe, I need somebody to listen. It's been something where makes me feel like at least, I'm there to be supportive for somebody. And one of the big things I think is definitely we got to see something where when it comes to the holidays and the holiday season, just being out there for each other. This is the holidays where we're about, sharing, our experiences, caring for strangers, helping out strangers out, and all the feel-good stories that you do see traditionally. I know there's a lot of bad news out there, but there's a lot of positive news I'm finding. This year, Christmas, it was different. We had to do a Zoom call with family in Alaska, Washington State, but definitely just making the best of it and just being grateful for what you do have, because I know there's just a lot of folks that, have a lot less going on right now for the holidays.
Yeah, definitely, Joe. It's really sad watching everything that's going on right now in the world, and the reason why we always talk about these things on Great Network. I know our main goal is to discuss motorsports and all of that jazz, but at the same time, we're human beings just like you, and we recognize all of the struggles and issues that are going on in the real world away from the track. So we definitely want to bring attention to everything that's going on in the world, and hopefully for all of those that are having a tough time out there, I hope someone is there to listen to them, because I know when I'm having a rough time, it's super important to have someone to talk to, whether it's my mom, my grandma, my friends in the motorsports industry, or my friends in my personal life outside of motorsports. It's really nice having someone who actually shows that they genuinely want to listen to what I have to say, because for a long time in my life, it really felt like that nobody was there to listen, and I was all on my own. But surrounding myself with a great support system, it definitely made things a lot better for me. And during the holiday season, it's really weird this year. Not having all of the kids come over in my family. They usually show up all throughout the day on Christmas Day. It's always a fun time, but this year that's not happening, because we want to make sure that everybody's in the family is going to be here on Christmas Day in 2021.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the big things keep talking about with family and friends is we're looking forward to 2021 Christmas and the holiday season, some more normalcy, especially with the pandemic and the vaccinations going on right now. It's really big and critical, and we're just looking forward to 2021, sort of the start of a new year, more positive things. I know a lot of times, when it comes to the holidays, trying to be positive, it sometimes just feels hard, but it just seems like there's always that one random person that, can make a positive difference just by saying, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and all that. And it's just something where, definitely I will say to everyone watching, we're all in this together. And definitely I know one of the big things with the holidays traditionally is Christmas traditions, favorite memories. Encourage everyone watching in the chat room, in the comments. Share with us what are some of your favorite holiday traditions. I know one of my favorite holidays traditions growing up. My parents are from Mexico, Noche Buena. That was something where every year I was more excited about. And then as well, my mom, homemade tamales, Christmas. That was just something that was like always got me really excited. Kobe, as a kid, what was some of your favorite traditions during the holiday season?
Oh, Joe, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, it was a 2 day extravaganza for me and my family. And I'm gonna start off from the very top on Christmas Eve. It's really funny because I really hated getting up early to go to school during the weekdays, but on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, those are the only 2 days out of the year where I got so excited to get up early because Christmas, always been my favorite holiday. And it was really wild because I always need an alarm, obviously, to get up for school. But on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, I didn't need an alarm at all. I just woke up naturally. I'd always wake up on Christmas Eve at 6:30. I'd, I'd I'd brush my teeth, get ready for the day, and I'd sit in front of the computer all day. I'm not sure how many people have heard of this website, but there's this website called NORAD Track Santa, where you and your kids or any little ones, you can sit on the computer and you can find out where Santa's going all day long. And I just thought it was really fascinating to watch the people in Colorado, NORAD, do this wonderful deed during the holidays. Keep the kids occupied on Christmas Eve in order to see where Santa's traveling next. I remember getting excited when I saw Santa in Egypt, all places in Europe, Paris, London, and then flying across the Atlantic Ocean. I knew it was time to get ready for bed when Santa was in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and then zooming up the East Coast. Then I knew I had to get in bed if he wanted to bring me some presents. But it was tons of fun over the years on NORAD Track Santa. As everyone knows, kids have a wild imagination, and my imagination was extremely wild growing up as a kid on the computer all day, NORAD Track Santa, and on Christmas Eve every year we had sausage biscuit from Bojangles every single Christmas to start off the day, and and it's crazy. I'd only stop the computer, to eat or use the bathroom, and as soon as I finished my meal, I was back on the computer. And as the day went on, when 6 o'clock rolled around, I'd go over to my cousin's house next door, and we'd bake cookies for Santa. We'd bake two types of cookies: chocolate chip and sugar cookies. It was so much fun. And then that was finished by 7:30 after after getting to open one Christmas present. Yeah, that was a deal my mom and I made, that every Christmas Eve I could open one present, and but she got to choose which present I got to open. Yeah, and that was definitely a lot of fun. Yeah, and then after that went to bed. And I woke up very early on Christmas morning at 6 a.m. to open presents, and nobody else is ready to get up. And I'm like waking them up. I'm like, come on, come on. I'm ready to open presents and see what Santa brought me. And it was just a wonderful time in my life that I'll never forget. And when I'm thinking about my favorite Christmas song, my favorite song is "Do You Hear What I Hear?"
I hear you. For me, my favorite Christmas song is from The Grinch Stole Christmas. That's a classic song, Mr. Grinch. Holidays are always that's one of the big things I always enjoy with the cartoons coming over, the holiday cartoons, all that fun. And then the evening, Christmas Day, meet up with some friends, share what exciting gifts we got. Always a lot of fun. But definitely, it's something where We'd definitely love to read in the comments in the chat room, the comment section, what were some of your favorite holiday memories, traditions, and your favorite song as well. Definitely encourage all our viewers and be sure to like and subscribe to our channel.
Yeah, really enjoyed chatting about Christmas with you, Joe, and all of our favorite members and all of that. But it's time to get down to business and introduce our final guest of 2020. She's a former college softball player and current tire changer in the NASCAR Cup Series. Please give a warm welcome to Breanna O'Leary. Breanna, we're so thrilled to have you on the show tonight. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great, and we're aware that you're the first pit crew member to appear on Life on the Grid so far. So very thrilled about
Oh,
that. And before we talk about your work in NASCAR, let's take a blast to the past for the time being. And looking at your time in college, I know that you're a proud alumna of Alcorn State and played on their college softball team. To start off our interview tonight, what did you major in, and how was your overall college experience?
so I actually I started college at a junior college close to home, called Frank Phillips, and I played 2 years of softball there, and I just got like my associates in art, and then I went on over to Alcorn for my last 2 years of college and or of softball, I should say, and I at that point it was when I actually had to decide what I wanted to major in, and I was like thinking social work. So I went for it, and I was like, social work is it. And and they had just actually got like an accredited social work program and everything, so it was perfect. Um, and then, but when with transferring, it actually it was going to take me an extra year to finish my bachelor's degree. So in that fifth year, I I got to kind of coach the softball team since I was done with eligibility. And then I was kind of like, and I spent a lot of time with the strength coach, and I was kind of like, you know what, coaching might be for me. So my final semester of my bachelor's degree, all I had left for to get my degree was one internship. I just have one internship away from my social work degree, and I switched over to general studies so that I could be essentially like an assistant coach for our softball team, because that's kind of where my heart led me. So I don't know. It worked out for me, and I had a blast at Alcorn. It was just such a tight knit group and a community and school. Everything's just we're kind of out in the middle of nowhere, so you don't have a choice but to make friends with everybody and hang out with everybody and make the best of the situation. I had a blast. I loved it there. I loved, and then I actually ended up since I spent so much time with the strength coach, he offered me a strength and conditioning graduate assistant position the next year to start my master's. So I was actually at Alcorn 4 years. So
Yeah, it sounds like you definitely had a fun college experience. So outside of all of that, were you involved in like any specific clubs on campus or anything like that?
I actually was just on the softball team. They kept me pretty busy between school and softball, so that's what I was doing.
Yeah, and I know as an athlete, it can be really hard trying to balance schooling your commitments to your athletic program and also trying to be involved on campus. So I know it can definitely be a lot on your plate. And for me, I'm currently a senior at UNC Charlotte. Just
Ooh.
finished up my fall semester there. Yeah, really excited. I only got one more semester left, and I'm gonna be finished. And we'll have to see what the future holds after that. I'm a communication studies major, journalism minor. Yeah, and it's been really
That's
weird
exciting.
finishing up. Yeah, definitely very exciting, and it's been really weird finishing up my senior year remotely. It's definitely not the ending that I envisioned at the start of my freshman year because I had no idea, as everyone else did, that we were going to be living through a global pandemic and get into all this remote learning stuff. This has been really crazy because if I had known that I walked off campus for the last time back in March, I believe I definitely would have done a lot of things differently. Would have made the most of many situations and honestly, I spent way too much time chasing race cars than trying to chase new experiences that I'll never get to do again. So definitely some regrets there, but I do know that there are greater days ahead. And speaking of great days, I bet you had many of those as an Alcorn State college softball player. And personally, I never played any organized sports. Growing up, I really loved sports. I wanted to play, but some unfortunate circumstances honestly made it impossible for me to be an athlete. But I did do some basketball camp stuff during the summer at Rockingham County High School, at when I was in elementary school here in Reidsville, North Carolina. But there is Wentworth. It was so much fun. Although I wasn't the best from the time I started with the level one program in third grade till fifth grade, the level three. They said in a 3 year period, I was the most improved player out there. So that definitely made me
Oh,
feel
cool.
made me feel really good about myself. But yeah, and I did. Yeah, I really hope that I could have continued into middle school. Wanted to try out for the middle school team, but I didn't, just didn't keep up with it, unfortunately.
Mhm.
And I think things turned out best, as best as they possibly could have. Hey, I can cover sports and all of that, so that's the next best thing. I can still be involved, although I didn't play. And with that being said, when it comes to your college softball career, what were some of your greatest memories?
I think just so it's hard to remember like individual moments like in the game, looking back at it now. But I just think just being a part of a team and getting to play with all these girls that like they become your family, you know. In college, you're living with them, you're getting up in the mornings, working out with them, you know, you're going to class, you're going to lunch together, you know, you're spending hours in the weight room and at practice together, going to dinner together. Like they become your family. And I think just getting to do all of that with them is kind of what sticks with me the most, which is just the people I got to do it with.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely seems like that all of the softball players on your team at Alcorn State close knit, and I hear that a lot as well when speaking from athletes from other sports as well. And everyone knows that NASCAR and softball are two completely different worlds. Brianna, you and many other athletes have switched from the field to the pits. Before entering NASCAR, did you have any prior knowledge or experience with the sport?
Um, None, zero. I I didn't know anything about NASCAR. I could probably name you like three drivers at the time. Um, to me, it was like what's so fun about, you know, watching guys drive in circles. And that was just like how I saw NASCAR. I didn't know any better. Um, so obviously now being involved in the sport, there's clearly so much more to it. But no, I had no prior knowledge, experience, nothing.
Yeah, yeah, and I actually hear that from a lot of people. Not just people who are involved in NASCAR, but but people who weren't really exposed to it, and it's really crazy because based on my experience, when a lot of people in my life who didn't really care about NASCAR or anything like that, they said they learned a lot about it from me because they always see me either posting NASCAR related tweets on Twitter or on my other platforms on social media, and then
Yeah.
and then then over time they're able to stay in the loop about what's going on, although they're not you know in full understanding of what NASCAR is all about. So I can definitely take a little personal pride there, knowing that I helped educate people about NASCAR. And one of my closest friends from UNC Charlotte, she said she actually started to really enjoy racing because she saw how passionate I was about NASCAR and all of that, and that just convinced her that hey, I want to see what this passion is all about, and I want to learn about it myself. So yeah, so that was definitely a cool moment there. Have you experienced anything like that with your friends as well? People who don't really know a lot about NASCAR, but after hearing about your experiences, they changed their tunes.
Oh, definitely. A lot of my family, so really none of my family was into NASCAR, but because of me, they had to, you know, they had to pay attention, and then there was things happening that they didn't know, so they would ask me about it, and it was things I was also learning. So like me and my family and my friends, we kind of got to learn the sport of NASCAR together. So I think that's pretty special to me. I have family that just didn't miss a race if they knew I was pitting it, regardless of if they were ever going to see me at all. Um, and I think, yeah, I got to learn the sport with, everybody that means the most to me. And I think that was pretty special.
Yeah, that definitely sounds pretty special. And speaking of other special things, I know Joe has something that he wants to ask you coming up.
Definitely, it's been really cool hearing your experience in motorsports, especially now in NASCAR. When it comes to going from softball to a NASCAR pit crew, as Chloe had mentioned, other athletes do the same football, baseball, they end up pit crew life. But I can only imagine it has to be really different from everything you learn in softball, the exercise and the training, and now we're doing essentially exercise and training, but different exercises I can imagine compared to softball pit crew. How did you get yourself to where it was becoming okay, NASCAR? This might be something I want to be in, and how much of a learning curve was it to go from being an athlete in the softball diamond to a pit crew member?
Oh goodness. It was, I think it was just like one day, maybe like a week or two in, our coach kind of like, he just told us, he was like, he brought out a football, he brought out a basketball, brought out a softball. He was like, y'all are no longer stick and ball athletes. He was like, y'all are pit crew members. Um, so it was just like we had to go in that mindset, like, you're right, like we are pit crew members, we are no longer this. So you had to just kind of like wipe all of that clean, and it was literally starting over. Um, I obviously didn't know anything about cars or tires or wheels, and I obviously was never handling like an impact wrench. So I mean, it was just brand new, It was like starting over, square one. I knew nothing. I had to take it all in and learn it all, and it was, I would say it's probably more mentally tough, because just being an athlete my whole life, like, you know, you're an athlete, you want to compete and you want to be good. And when I wasn't good right away, I was like, what is this? Like, what am I doing? I was like, why am I even out here? It was just like a more of a mental game. It was obviously tough physically, but just being an athlete, I think you can pick up on that more. Um, but I would say it was definitely a big learning curve, because I knew nothing. It was starting from scratch. You had to forget everything you knew about the sport you came from, and learn the ins and outs of something completely brand new. But I would say there is a couple of things that do translate over. Like in softball, you you have to perform under pressure. You have maybe a few at bats per game. You might have a ball hit to you just a few times in a game, and in those seconds that you have to perform, you have to be able to perform under pressure, and that translates right to a pit stop. Obviously, a pit stop is just a few seconds, and it's just a few seconds, but you could mess up a whole entire race. So you just have to be able to perform under pressure, and you have to be able to handle that pressure well. So I think just being competitive in sports translated over to that in pit stops.
Wow. One follow up question. I know when it comes to being a collegiate athlete, of course, college, your classes, your courses, training for the softball games, then, of course, playing on the road or at home could be grueling. Do you find it where, especially for like collegiate players, where they have to balance academics, athletics, and then, of course, NASCAR, the Cup Series, one of the longest seasons in all professional sports? January, essentially, with the testing up to November. Do you found it where that long season and the balance you had to do as a collegiate athlete was helpful? Or do you feel that the challenge of the NASCAR schedule was just something where it was a test for everybody and just something where a huge learning curve?
Yeah, I would say that they do almost go hand in hand, because it's all time management. And in college, you had to figure out time to get your homework done, time to eat, time to sleep, time to get, your training and your practice in. And you had to be able to do all of that, and you had to be able to do it well. And yeah, so coming over to NASCAR, where you're on the road February to November, you have to do the same thing. You have to find your time to get your laundry done. I also have another job, time to, get some hours in, time to meal prep for the week, time to go to the gym. I think one of the big keys to getting through such a long season is being in shape and staying healthy and allowing your body to get through such a grueling schedule.
It is one of the most grueling schedules. Definitely, I know when it comes to NASCAR, of course, a lot of times when people think of the pit crew, they just think of men, especially in the past where it was mechanics, but now we have these athletes like you out there. And of course, you're not the only Breanna out there. We also have Breanna Daniels as well, a tire changer in the NASCAR Cup Series. She was a college basketball player at Norfolk State. She became the first Black female tire changer in NASCAR history. And both of you made history in the 2019 Great American Race, the Daytona 500, by being the first female members of a pit crew to be in that race. How does it feel to be such an important part of NASCAR history that day? And then especially having Breanna Daniels there, what does that all mean to you?
It's something I didn't ever think of. Like when I came into the sport, it was kind of like, for me, it was just an opportunity to be competitive, to like take on something new. And I didn't realize the impact that could follow behind it, whether it be, making history or just even having like girls be able to have somebody to look up to, or have parents come up to me and grandparents come up to me and say, my daughter, my granddaughter, like they just think you're so cool. Like they're so excited to see a girl doing this, something that they thought girls couldn't do. And, now they have something to look up to. And I honestly think that out of all of this, that's the most rewarding part is, kind of like creating a path. Because that wasn't expected. I didn't even imagine that being a thing. And that's like the most rewarding part out of all of it is just, besides getting to do all these cool things, is that being able to be a positive role model and example for people.
That's really awesome. I know it's really exciting. As you mentioned, when you tell folks, you're a pit crew member, they get excited. Wow, I thought only men do that, especially young girls out there. That has to be super motivated. Like, oh, I could do that. And of course, they're going to be trying to watch you in the television coverage, seeing like, oh, could we spot her changing the tires?
Yeah.
One follow-up question. I know a lot of times the scenes, especially when a career pivots from like a stick and ball sport to all of a sudden motorsports, sometimes there's a reaction where it's not like your family was really excited that you're going to NASCAR. There's been other where like, NASCAR, that's a Southern thing. You don't want anything to do with that. In general, when especially family or friends, when it was becoming more, yeah, I'm going the NASCAR route, it seems like most folks were supportive. And did you felt like any time there was some folks that are talking about like, oh, do you really want to do that? That's more for guys, or was it just mostly positive support for you?
I don't know that I had any negative support. Everybody was just like, that is so cool. Like for me, I still wake up every day and I'm like I really like change tires for a living. And it's like, it's crazy to me. And so yeah, and for everybody else, they were just like, that is so awesome. It's just something like none of us would have ever pictured for anybody. And so yeah, everybody's been positive and supportive and was like, go girl, just go for it.
That is wonderful and awesome that you're part of the motorsports community. That's just really exciting. I know Kobe definitely has some questions as well too when it comes to being a female in motorsport.
Yeah, Brianna. So here at Grit Network, we really do take a lot of pride in diversity. We've put together a staff consisting of both male, female, coming from different countries and ethnic backgrounds all over the world. We have a wide range of programs that should satisfy any race fan all across the globe. And one of our programs that we're actually most proud of is Grit Girls, the women racing to win. And Joe co-hosts that with Daniel from Racers, the girls behind the helmet. And the program definitely highlights news, analysis, and interviews of all the women racing around the world. And there's a lot of great stories out there that simply and sadly just aren't being told. And it's one of our goals to help fill in that gap by doing that. And over the years, we've seen a lot of women break barriers, including yourself, in the NASCAR garage. I see the shirt you're wearing right there. Like your shirt says equality on it. And with that said, here's my question for you: what advice would you give to the little girl watching Life on the Grid right now who wants to be a tire changer in NASCAR when she grows up?
I know that this sounds so cliche, but my advice always is to go for it. I mean, the only way to know if you can or can't do it is to go for it. You have to set your mind to it and, kind of put some blinders on and go for it. You can't let, you can't listen to anybody say you can't do it. You just have to go for it.
Yeah, that's definitely great advice right there. Just go out there and go for it. And we know
Mhm.
when it comes to breaking barriers, there's often a lot of obstacles standing in the way, and at times there might be some rough experiences along the way that can be very discouraging for a lot of people. And in the end, through all of those tough times and t- and in situations where you're thinking, I want to give up, this might not be for me. It's very rewarding ultimately at the end knowing that you helped pave the way for others in the future and that you didn't let anyone deter you from doing what you know that you're capable of. And based on your personal experience, did you face any major challenges entering a predominantly male environment?
I kind of grew up in middle environments, or dominant environments. I played baseball growing up where in the whole league there was two girls. There was me and another girl. Because at the time softball wasn't like readily available, like competitive yet. So I mean we were playing baseball, me and this girl, and then um when I went to college and I was the strength and conditioning graduate assistant, I was spending a bunch of time with the football team and so you just hear all the things and see all the things and um of course coming to a new sport just in and of itself is like a little intimidating at first, but it's just kind of you have to go in there and act like you know what you're doing. And I I really haven't had any issues from the men in the sport. All of them have helped me and developed me into the tire changer I am. Everybody helps everybody regardless of male or female. And that's one of the things that I've really loved about NASCAR is the community of it and how everybody wants everybody to be better. And so they've been receptive and helpful and respectful. So I haven't really come across issues from in the sport. Sometimes fans when they were allowed it on pit road might make a joke about something, but just blow it off and keep going.
Yeah, definitely want to blow off any negative comments that people might say about you because at the end of the day, you know exactly what you're capable of, and if your team didn't believe in you, they wouldn't have hired you in the first place. So you're definitely in the right place, and you have the talent and very deserving to be there on pit road. And I like the fact that you mentioned the community aspect of NASCAR. That there's a lot more people in the community that want to see you succeed than want to see you fail. And based on my brief experiences of being down there on pit road and in the garage area at the racetrack, people were very friendly to me. Yeah, I remember my first time, covering the race at Charlotte Motor Speedway. I believe it might have been 2 years ago, if
Mhm.
yeah, 2 or 3 ish years ago. I'll be honest with you, I got lost in the garage area since it was my first time there,
Yeah.
and had someone notice and pointed me in the right direction. And and then when I was walking by the Richard Childress Hollers, Austin Ty Dillon actually waved over to me and asked me if I wanted to have a ham sandwich with them. So very very friendly of them to do that. And
Yeah.
and being a new person on the block in the garage, it really made me feel welcome, and it was such an inviting environment that no matter where you come from, what it doesn't matter if you're male or female, or and all of that. There's a good chunk of people in the community that have good intentions and they want to see you succeed. And we know the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series season will be here before we know it. We're heading towards the end of December now. Then it'll be January and the start of a new year. Goodbye 2020. Don't want to see you ever again. I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way. Yeah, in January we'll probably be out of here in the blink of an eye too. And then finally it'll be time to get the season underway. And here's my final question tonight. It's actually going to be a two-part question. So starting with the first question, what type of training is required to be a tire changer in NASCAR?
Of course, just general fitness. We lift a lot of weights, and even CrossFit, lifting weights and cardio all at once. Um, and then pit stops. You want to be strong and you want to be in shape to get you through the pit stops as well as get you through the whole season. And then it's a lot of training on pit stops. As long as you're taking care of your body and doing what you need to do, then a lot of it is just repetition and getting your stuff right.
Yeah, and just like your days, I assume at Alcorn State as a softball player, you're practicing and in preparation for game day. Just like you have to work out, stay in shape, and do all of that. Do your exercises, so you'll be loose and ready to change all those tires when it's time for the car that you're assigned to come down pit road, so you can change all the lug nuts on the tires. And the second question I had for you, what's your outlook on the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series season in your role on pit road?
I am I'm excited. I'm excited for 2021. I have some changes going on. I will be out there and haven't signed anything yet. But I have big changes coming and I'm just excited um to be able to be somewhere and learn and get better and just be surrounded by great guys and a great team. And I'm just excited. I don't know. I'm excited because 2020 was we managed to get the season in. We had to rush for a few bits at a time, and I mean, that was pretty awesome that NASCAR managed to pull it off. But I'm just excited to get going again.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people are excited to get going again, but not before a break during the off season. I know it got yeah, got kind of hectic there for a while, especially after NASCAR restarted back in May at Darlington. It was a real unusual year all across motorsports, and we definitely saw NASCAR take the lead and put all of those special protocols in place to make sure everyone could stay healthy and race. We had mass social distancing, fewer people at the track, and sometimes racing behind closed doors and a select number of fans in the grandstand. So based on everything that you experienced at the track in a strange 2020 racing season with all of those special protocols in place, what was it like, showing up at the track, less people, everybody required to wear a mask, practice social distancing, and overall just a different NASCAR than what everyone's used to.
I would say for when that NASCAR made it pretty seamless for us. So the day before a race, they would send us out a link to fill out like a pre-screening questionnaire so that they would already have that in their system when we pulled up. They sent out maps so you knew exactly what route to take to get to the check-in line. They checked everybody in. You went to the next line, you got your temperature checked, and they just kind of verified that all your medical questions, your pre-screening were all the same. And if you had any answers that they didn't really like, they would follow up with you. Um, and it took you right into the track. I mean, they had it mapped out so perfectly for us that it was seamless getting in and out of the track. It was, I don't know that not having fans, obviously it was really weird in the stands, but out on pit road, it's kind of like everybody's already out there and working and people are still moving back and forth, setting up, tearing down, that I don't know that there was just like a huge impact on me, like as far as noticing people were missing, just because you're out there working. Um, it was strange and unusual when it was quiet in the in the stands, or when there was no driver announcements or intros. And um I don't know, it just, after a few, since it's just so go go go, you that became the normal. So it wasn't too unusual after just a couple races.
Well, that's glad to hear that it was basically business as normal. Just a few tweaks here and there, as I
Yeah.
mentioned, mass social distancing, less people at the track overall, and it looks like heading into 2021 NASCAR season, we're gonna see a little bit of the same for a while. Probably the first half of the season. Then maybe once more people get vaccinated, we'll be able to allow more people at the track, and by 2022, hopefully we can start getting a little bit closer to what we knew before in the pre-pandemic world in NASCAR and other racing series all around the world.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. One of the things I know, since you're on the road all the time at the NASCAR venues, we know some of them get really hot. Daytona, Talladega is hot and humid. When you're in pit road, the track temperature is hotter. Of course, you're in the fireproof suit. That makes it hotter. You got a helmet. How much of a workout is that? Is it something where you just got to drink a lot of water and just try to stay hydrated? How challenging is that?
Yeah, it is tough, definitely. It's one of those things where the few days before practice, they remind you, like, start hydrating now. If you start hydrating the day of the race, you're already too late. So it's important to just stay hydrated throughout the week, especially when you know what's coming up. And then, yeah, just stay hydrated and rest when you can, and stay in the shade when you can. And yeah, it's kind of just give and take what you can here and there, just to stay. I don't want to say okay, but just to be able to last it.
Oh yeah, and especially if you have a race where there's just multiple pit stops, because I could think of like Darlington. Anytime there's a caution flag, time to come to pit road, time to
Yeah.
get new tires. They just eat up those tires. When it comes to the pit roads, I know there's some like Talladega, very wide, very spacious, and then we have some of the more narrow pit roads. And this year we had that scary incident at Indianapolis during the Brickyard 400. Is there a particular pit road that you find more difficult because it's like tighter space between the wall and the car? Which tracks do you find more challenging compared to some of the others?
Yeah, definitely Indy. Indy is long but narrow. So obviously there's not much room for error or mistake on either side. You have to be very cautious over on the right side of what's coming behind you, out from behind you, and even for the jackman on the left side, how close you are. But then even at Indy, since it's so long, if your driver goes long, I mean, he can go a long way, and I'm in the rear, so I'm chasing the car. Um, but other than that, I try to just focus on the car, and obviously keep your head on a swivel for cars around you. But you have to remember that, like, of course, the pit box is different. You have to think about that, but then at the end of the day, you have to focus on your task at hand.
Focus on task on hand. That sort of leads to a follow up question. I know we had that scary incident at Indianapolis. Of course, it was a red flag. Thankfully, no nothing too serious, but still, there was an injury. A lot of times, especially like we saw a scary Formula One crash, we talk about the drivers getting their mind back into it, like, got to put that danger out. We rarely talk about the pit crews. I can only imagine probably the same kind of, the risks are there when those things happen, trying to get focused. How challenging is that? And have you had people come up being like, aren't you scared that's a dangerous sport?
Yeah, of course, I try to, like, push it in the back of my head that it could potentially be very dangerous. or that something dangerous could happen. But when you're out there, you're moving so fast, you're not really thinking of that at the time. But I will say it was sometime in Daytona, maybe a couple years ago. I think maybe BJ McLeod was driving for us, and I don't remember who was in front of us, but I think BJ got bumped coming into our stall, and it spun him backwards, spun him around, and the back of our car pinned the gas man in front of us. It pinned him to the wall, so he was stuck between the car and the pit wall, and we're just like, we're watching this unfold because we were supposed to be jumping over the wall, pitting the car, and we're on the wall, and I like look over and I see my front changers off the wall. It was Breanna, and because the car was so close to them, they backed off the wall, and I'm watching the gas man who's pinned between the car and the wall, and then I'm sitting on the wall, and our car is in our stall backwards, and you're just like, what happened? And then you snap back because the crew chief's on the radio, and he's like, all right, 4 tires. So yeah, you see it, and you panic a little bit, and then you're like, oh, I gotta go, I gotta do my job. So yeah,
That is amazing just to witness that. Probably like feet so close, and then that's just amazing that you could just hear the 4 tires and do
yep,
it.
he's like, go change tires, and we're like, crap, okay.
That's incredible. You all are such amazing athletes, and definitely I know you were part of course, Rick Ware Racing. What was your time like over there at Rick Ware Racing, and what can we expect about for your 2021 plans that we know of?
Yeah, I loved it. Rick Ware Racing has a bunch of great people, and everybody. I mean, I guess they just kind of is synonymous with NASCAR, that everybody roots for everybody, but everybody looked out for us there, and there's just welcomed us with like open arms. And for 2021, it's looking like I will be. I don't really know for sure what my plans are. I know it'll be full-time truck deals for sure. But I'll let y'all know as soon as I know. It's kind of tough. NASCAR changes, and plans change so fast and so often that it's kind of hard.
Yeah, and this is going to be a much different year. Of course, we got some new tracks coming up.
Yeah.
Road America, Circuits of America. Is there any particular tracks where you and the team are more excited about, like, oh, this is a track where we know our driver has a good shot because they like a short track and the more pressure's on us? Or do you feel there's just sort of the same every week where it's like, okay, let's just do our jobs, be consistent?
Yeah, I mean, I think I have my tracks that I'm like excited to go to just for like, my own reasons. But yeah, it's as a pit crew members, you're there to change tires. And so that's what you have to do, regardless, what track you're at, what position you're in. You have to do your job, and like you said, do it consistently.
Yeah, consistency is the big thing. Those
Yeah.
quick stops. Off the top of your head, do you know for Rick Ware Racing what was the fastest pit stop you all had this past season?
I couldn't even tell you.
Gotcha.
I don't usually look at times too much.
Gotcha. It's just amazing still just seeing how being in some of the live events, just see the car. It seems faster in person than it does on television.
Yeah.
And just all the amazing work with those pit stops. So definitely, I know we're just thrilled to have you on the show today because we're really excited. The work you're doing, Rick Ware Racing, and being such a positive role model for so many fans out there. I just think it's really something we're excited to share your story.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I just want to thank you for joining us this month's episode of Life on the Grid in December 2020. Our last guest for the year. Really excited for all the viewers out there who listen to all of the wonderful stories you had to share, and we want to encourage all of our viewers to follow Breanna on Twitter at Bree O'Leary3, and be sure to look for Breanna on Pit Road in 2021. And also want to remind all of our viewers to check out our Patreon page. Shout out to Colin for his wonderful support all of these last few months, and also be sure to check out Paw Bless, a dog accessories and clothing website. 10% off every purchase goes towards taking care of dogs that are homeless and ill. And click on the link below to receive a 10% discount on your purchase for being a Grid Network viewer. And with further ado, it's time for our musical guest, Ben Balivet.
If I could just relate the story that I've seen, there are many here among us who never would believe that it does come quickly. There's a soft touch, resting in that moment, sitting in his phone. Let's take a break, man.
All right, mate.
Yeah, that sounds good. Ryan and I both thought we went to the kill.
That was Ben Balivet. Be sure to follow him. Definitely great music. He's from the state of Alaska. Great stuff. Kiska likes his music as well, and Kiska is telling us it is time to go off the air shortly. So definitely please like and subscribe and comment in the chat room. We love to hear from you, and we always respond back to everyone's comments in the chat room and the comments.
And on behalf of everyone here at Grit Network, we hope that you enjoy the rest of the holiday season and have a happy new year.